Do you know what DeSantis has done with regard to Regeneron in Florida?
Yes, and that's what started the federal government wanting to get involved. DeSantis has made Regeneron available widely throughout his state, everywhere. Any doctor can get it. Infusion clinics can prescribe it and dispense it. And when the federal government saw this, and Florida being a red state, they decided that they wanted to control the distribution because they're angry at the governor of Florida for his COVID policies. It's criminal what's going on. We almost need a COVID-19 commission once this country is through this, and to appropriately punish people that have been withholding care. CVS, Rite Aid, Walgreens all refuse to dispense life-saving medications for early treatment, and it causes a lot of us to have to scramble to work twice as hard to try to help patients like you get treatment when they need it.
It's unprecedented, I assume, in your practice.
Never have I seen this ever before. You know, I kiddingly, but not so kiddingly, put out a tweet that says something like, "It is easier for me to prescribe OxyContin than ivermectin," a drug, OxyContin, by the way, and other narcotics that kills patients across the country that overdose, et cetera. Ivermectin, I don't think there's been a single dose from somebody overdosing on ivermectin. The worst is you'd get diarrhea and upset stomach, et cetera. It's an incredibly safe medicine and very effective if we can get to patients early. I have a patient up at UC Berkeley. No pharmacy up in that area will dispense it. I have a patient at the University of Colorado, Boulder. We can't get her ivermectin or hydroxychloroquine because pharmacies refuse to prescribe it, to dispense it. So instead, we have to be creative. Compounding pharmacies that will mail it. Friends and family that go out and get it across borders and bring it in. This is ridiculous. We're literally killing people because of the lack of access to early treatment, let alone the benefit of supplements like vitamin D. There's a recent study that showed if you do nothing with a COVID patient but put them on an adult-strength aspirin, you can reduce mortality by 50%. Do you hear Dr. Fauci saying that? No, of course not. We are approaching this problem completely wrong. We're not going to vaccinate ourselves out of this pandemic, but we will get out of this pandemic by making early treatment widely available to everyone, and that's what many of us frontline doctors are demanding.
What is the issue with Regeneron? It's so obviously effective.
It is so obviously effective. I don't know. I think the issue is people hate Ron DeSantis because of his COVID policies, because of his freedom policies, because him pushing back on mandates, and because he's using Regeneron so effectively that the government now wants to get involved and in an equitable way distribute the Regeneron throughout the country. Was working perfectly well, supply and demand before, but now the government's involved and Regeneron is in short supply.
It's a scandal. It's just a scandal. You're right. I mean, there was a major hospital that didn't want to give me Regeneron and wanted to give me remdesivir.
They wanted to
and to admit me in the hospital, exactly. Which
and thank God Sue said absolutely not, and I said the same thing, and we got you the Regeneron elsewhere. It's a far superior product than remdesivir for early treatment, yet that's the only tool that hospitals seem to have. And they just are going about this all wrong. Kaiser, one of the largest healthcare institutions, refused to allow their physicians to prescribe ivermectin or hydroxychloroquine, and Kaiser pharmacies refused to dispense those products. It's a crime. We have study after study after study that's showing effectiveness. Yet what is the government doing? They're pushing the vaccine. They're pushing remdesivir, and they make no mention of the things that actually make a difference, and that's early treatment, supplements, et cetera. It's a crime what's going on, and I apologize for my passion, but I can't tell you how upset I am. And Thank God we were able to treat you effectively, but that's not the case with everybody.
That's right. Dr. Jeffrey Barkey, Irvine, California. I'm lucky to have found you.
Thanks, Dennis. I appreciate it. Office actually is in Newport Beach, and listeners can learn more about me, rx4liberty.com, rx4forliberty.com, and I know I join all your listeners in wishing you a speedy recovery, and thank goodness that we got you back on the air. We need you.
Is Barkey spelled there right? I don't think so. It's not.
There's no doubt about it. America is in the middle of a culture war. The battle between left and right is real. One side believes in American greatness. The other wants to tear it down. The Salem Radio Network and the Salem Podcast Network is looking for a few warriors who are already fighting this war. This is your chance to